Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I'm joined this evening by a partner in crime, Mr. Jamie Phillips. How are we doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm doing good, mate.
Good. Massive thank you for everyone that's joined. Comment from Eric. This was before the stream. So big up, Luke. I won't be able to join the live stream. Too late on a weekday for me. Hopefully you catch up once you're busy. And then JD said the beat is banging. Yes, it is. I think Callum helped sort that out. So it's a massive shout out to Callum as well. Make sure everyone to hit the like button, share button, subscribe button. Make sure to sub to Jamie's channel. Link is in the description, and also the GoFundMe page for the charity walk I'm doing for the domestic abuse support unit. That link's in the description. So any type of donation will be very much appreciated. The goal is £500. Hopefully we can get close to that before the 23rd of August. But Jamie, UFC event on this weekend. Usually we don't do previews for cards that are not the numbered cards, unless it is a special card. However, this weekend is different. Why? It's because it's in Saudi Arabia, not in Abu Dhabi. So the UFC have finally jumped on the bandwagon that every other promotion has been doing, every combat sports production has been doing, PFL, Bellator, boxing, and it's now had a show in Saudi Arabia. Firstly, before we start off on the card, big up AJ. Before we touch on the card, are you surprised that the UFC have gone to Saudi Arabia, or do you think that this was only a matter of time before they headed over to that part of the world?
Yeah, I'm actually wondering why it took so long, to be fair. You know, it's always going to happen, won't it? You know, obviously, so WWE started the whole thing for going to Saudi as a sporting event.
Boxing started it, to be fair.
Did they?
I think AJ Ruiz 1 was in Saudi. No, AJ Ruiz 2 was in Saudi.
Yeah, WWE were going there before that as well, weren't they? Yeah. I'm just surprised they've taken this long, you know, with the way, especially the way boxing's going right now, because Dana had a lot of things to say about boxing recently, and now Saudi being involved. And, you know, obviously it goes to the Middle East a bit, Abu Dhabi and stuff like that. But now cornering in the Saudi market, this is going to be the first of many. I expect, 2 or 3 shows a year coming up for the rest of the time in UFC. Probably a big contract. Don't know what the contract terms are with Saudi, but I'm sure it's 5 years plus probably. And look, they tried to fob them off with a shit card. Saudi said no. And now, now we've got a very, very good card.
Yeah, Groves Eubank was the first event in Saudi.
Do you remember that fight? Yeah, do you remember that fight? Jesus.
Yeah, God, yeah. I think I do remember that fight. I think with this, does it surprise you that the UFC have gone to Saudi? No, because Saudi they're trying to get their fingers in all of the different pies. Pause with the golf, with the tennis, with the football, with obviously the Saudi Pro League, Newcastle. Trying to think what other sports that they have invested heavily in. Boxing, obviously. I think they're trying to do a similar thing to the UFC. I think there was something about His Excellency trying to buy all the promotions to have it sort of like the UFC, which I'll be very interested to see that happens. Maybe we'll do probably I may do a video touching on that to see what the likelihood of that would be and what that would look like. But I think you're right, Jamie, that when this card was announced, I think Dana put in a very shoddy card, and then His Excellency, when it was like, we're paying you how much? No, we need something a little bit better than that. And the original card was supposed to be a lot better than this. Obviously, the big fight that was supposed to happen but didn't happen was Robert Whittaker versus Hamzat Chimaev. That was supposed to be the main event.
Looking forward to. Couldn't wait for it.
which I was looking forward to for a number of reasons. To see if Robert Whittaker can get back-to-back wins. How would Hamzat fare against an elite middleweight rather than ragdolling welterweights and middleweights that he was obviously better than? And also to see whether or not that he was ready for a title shot that he claimed that he so richly deserved, even though that he was lucky to win his last fight against Kamaru Usman on late notice. Also on this fight card, we had a couple of other cards that got cancelled. Obviously, Sharabutin Magondov, basically the ginger fighter with one eye. He's had not one.
The way you put that. We're looking for a ginger bloke with one eye. Ginger bloke with one eye. Anyone see
I can only say Sharabutin, and that's about it. Apparently, he's been cast into like some sort of American like gangster movie or something like that, or something
Has
like
he?
that. Apparently, he's supposed to play like a killer, which by the looks of him, I can probably see why he's been cast that role. But he's had a couple of fights cancelled, one against Julian Santos, one against Ihor Toria, which would have been an interesting fight, and obviously a featherweight bout, Mohamed Namedov versus Meslik. I can't even begin to pronounce that name. See, this is what happens when you're dyslexic. You can't pronounce the Dagestani names.
No. It's hard enough if you're not dyslexic. It's hard enough if you're not dyslexic, to be fair.
It's hard enough as it is. But obviously, there are still great fights on the card. Obviously, Sharabutin has got an opponent, so he stays on the card. And obviously, the announcement that was made last week, Robert Whittaker is now fighting, I think he's number 13 ranked or 15 ranked, Ikram Aliskerov, which is a massive risk for Robert Whittaker. And basically, Robert Whittaker's a lose-lose situation, in my personal opinion. But for Ikram Aliskerov, this is a massive opportunity for him because a win against Robert Whittaker, it has shown against Dricus 2+E that a win against Robert Whittaker practically gets you on knocking on that door for the title. Do you think that he deserved this fight? Do you think this was the right fight to be made? Or do you think that the UFC have showed a bit of favoritism to try to get a fighter from that region as the main event, do you think, Jamie? Or do you think there was a better matchup in the division for Robert Whittaker?
I don't know. It's like I don't know a lot about Ikram. He's obviously he's a dangerous fighter. What we've seen of him, like in some, I've looked at some of his some highlights of some of his fights, but I've not watched a lot of his fights fully. But in highlights, he looks like an extremely dangerous opponent, actually. And it's more of a look. There's no real upside for it for Whittaker, to be fair. If he beats him, he's just beaten a non-ranked fighter. But if he loses, it's a massive loss. It's a massive dent in his career, ain't it? It's a bit like playing a promoted team from the championship on a 12:30 kickoff on the opening day of the season. There's no upside to it, is there at all? So for Whittaker, he should be the firm favourite. He's fighting a non-ranked fighter.
I don't think he's non-ranked, but I'll have a double check while you keep talking.
I think he might be.
I think he's 15th, I think he's just literally broken in the rankings, but I will just...
Have they just gave him a ranking for this fight? Just to make it look better. I think I'm on the UFC card. They ain't got a ranking by his name.
No, he's unranked.
That's what I'm saying. So he's an up-and-coming fighter. Obviously UFC have got a lot of money behind. They feel like he can be a star, and that's why they're giving him Whittaker. They obviously feel like this is a very good matchup. So UFC feel like this is a very good matchup. I don't see the upside for Whittaker. I really don't. I really don't. I mean, if he loses this fight, if he loses to Hamzat, it's not the end of the world because Hamzat's got a lot of things behind him. A lot of people think he's the next big thing, and there's a lot of a big push for Hamzat. People know his name, but A loss here for Whittaker, with a loss only a couple of fights ago, puts his middleweight career really in jeopardy, if you ask me.
Yeah. So with regards to Aliskerov, he was supposed to fight this past weekend against Andre Muniz, and then obviously he had another fight cancelled, which was against Antonio Trogoli, which I think is fighting the other Russian fight, the ginger fighter. I need to really get these pronunciations on point, but yeah, so he's fighting him, and obviously he had another fight scheduled for UFC 298 against Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, which also got cancelled. So he's had quite a few cancellations. Obviously, I'm not going to really blame him for the ones this past weekend, because obviously that's when he had the news that he was probably fighting the week after. So I can't really have a go at him for that. But he's had other fights cancelled, so I do believe that the UFC have really wanted to push him, because since he's made his UFC debut, right? So he came in at UFC 288. He KO'd Phil Hawes in round 1. That's when Phil Hawes had that interview with DC, or was that the fight before, where he had a bit of a falling out with DC in the octagon?
Right. Yeah, I know the one.
I think it might have been the one before that, saying, "What? Oh, look, give me this guy." I beat him. Since then, these are his cancelled opponents, right?
Go for it.
UFC 291, Paulo Costa cancelled.
Yeah.
Right? Nuruddin Imanov cancelled. For Wardley Alves, KO'd in one round light work. Right, so that's 2-0 in the UFC. So he is 2-0. To my understanding, yeah. So he is 2-0 in the UFC. 2-0 against, I'd say Wardley Alves is a solid competitor.
Yeah.
Not just title. And obviously Phil Hawes can be an exciting fighter on his day. But this guy has been very, very heavily pushed, and you could tell by it, since he's got into the UFC, he's been pushed to fight the elite, because I don't know whether or not you knew this, Jamie. His only defeat on his record came against
Islam, isn't it?
Hamza.
Hamza. Is it Hamza? Ah.
Yes, and has successfully defended a takedown against Hamzat Chimaev. So there was a bit of history there. And you could tell by the way that he's been attempted to be booked that they have tried to get him up the rankings. But this is a big risk, because we don't know. For me, I don't know what you think, Jamie. I think this is. To be honest, I can't tell whether or not if this is going to be a harder fight than Chimaev.
Yeah, it could be, because I think this guy, what we know about him is he wins by knockout as well. I think his last 2 fights are knockouts, I believe.
Yes.
He's got 5 submissions, and he finishes people early as well.
Yeah,
got good striking accuracy as well. His takedown accuracy is not as high, so he relies more on his ground game. He likes going to the head. He likes headshots. And we know Whittaker likes a war. Whittaker's not scared of having a war. So, I just worry about Whittaker's getting to that age. We all talk about it. But he's climbing up to that magical number. And the thing with Whittaker, he's been around the block and he's had wars. And he's beat everyone who's everyone. And I just worry. This guy's young. He's upcoming. UFC obviously think he's the next big thing. In a massive Saudi main event against Whittaker as last minute thing. As I said, I don't see the upside for Whittaker in this fight. If he wins him, he should beat him. If he loses, I think that's him done in middleweight.
You look at Askalov's wins. It's 6 KOs, 5 submissions, 4 decisions. He's got a knockout loss to Hamzat. This was over in Brave in 2019. So
it's when he was young. Yeah.
He's got on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fight win streak, then finishing with about 6 finishes.
Finishers are no matter who they are, what their skill set is. If you're fighting someone who's a finisher, it's a dangerous fight.
Absolutely. And we say Robert Whittaker's coming up to that magical age. Yes, if Robert Whittaker was a welterweight, we'd be like saying, no, he's got about 2 years left.
Yeah.
He's got about 2 years left before he hits that magical number. But I think, when did Robert Whittaker make his UFC debut? Because I always thought, Robert Whittaker, he must be a lot older than what we think he is. But no, he's only 33, which in some people's eyes, you go, wow, this guy's in the prime of his career.
He's an old 33, though, with the fights he's had.
He's an old 33. So he made his UFC debut, right, against Bradley Scott on UFC on F6 in December 2012.
Wow. He has been around.
So he has been around the block.
I watched that show, I think.
He's fought the likes of Uriah Hall, Derek Brunson, lost to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, lost to Court McGee at welterweight. He's fought Yo Romero twice, 2 wars, lost to Adesanya by knockout, beat Darren Till in a very, very close fight. Arguably, Till could have won that fight. Beat Cannonier by decision, then beat Gastelum by decision. Lost to Israel Adesanya. People think, like Drifty, thought that Whittaker beat Adesanya. I thought not. Beat Marvin Vettori, got KO by Dricus du Plessis, and just beat Paulo Costa. So he has fought the who's who. He's fought the who's who. I did feel like his last fight, especially the Dricus fight, that was the first time I've looked at Whittaker and I've gone, yeah, your age is starting to catch up on you. Because he didn't look...
a year ago. If that fight was a year earlier, DDP ain't beating.
Yeah. He just something wasn't right. And you saw that in the Costa fight. Costa was literally, he had about 10 seconds left. Round 1 KO win for Costa.
Yeah.
And as you said, Jamie, I think the wars are starting to creep up. And we know the fighter's shelf life is not very long. And when the punch resistance starts to go, like I do believe that it's starting to go on Robert Whittaker, then he's got a very short time remaining.
Yeah, punch resiliency.
And it's going to be a long night. No, it's not. It's going to be a short night.
Yeah, it's not saying there's no upside for Whittaker in this fight. And in the Hamzat fight, you could see it as though if he beats Hamzat, he could go, look, I could probably get a title fight in my next match. In this fight, I don't think you can be calling for a title fight beating a non-ranked fighter. Yeah. So it's no upside for him. And as I said, fighting anyone who's a finisher, and this geezer's a finisher, they're always dangerous because it means they know how to finish fights, or they got KO in their feet or hands and KO power. So, and if Whittaker's punch resilience is going a little bit, he'll always have power. He'll always be able to manhandle people and stuff like that. But if he can't take a shot like he used to, and it's slowing down his cardio, this could be a horrible fight for him. It really could.
Yeah. And they're looking at potential opponents. Obviously, people are like, oh, who could he have fought? It's because he's fought a who's who. I would like to see him face Sean Strickland. Not going to happen. And Sean Strickland would like to sit on his number 1 contenders rankings. He could have fought Manov. Brendan Allen. Would have seen Brendan Allen. Then obviously the fights down the bottom, like Anthony Hernandez, Chris Curtis, Michel Pereira, Kyle Borralio, Ron Delizzi, Jack Hermanson, like names that wouldn't do anything for him, but big risk.
I've mentioned him going up to 205 quite a few times.
Yeah,
on our shows, don't we?
Yeah, I think he's too small for 205. You know, I think
he is. I think he is. I didn't. No, you think of Robert Whittaker? He's not the biggest 185er, is he?
I mean, he's
And
too big to be welterweight. He's too big at welterweight. I think he struggled with the weight cut.
he's really in an awkward situation because I said that he could go up to 205 and he could make the 205-pound limit, obviously, but he's fighting a lot of giants in that 205 weight division. I mean, look at Pereira, for goodness sake.
It's a bloody heavyweight.
It's like Whittaker could get destroyed. It's just he's in a position by his fight. For me, it's a non-win for. Even if he wins this fight, where does he go? If he beat Hamzat and that fight happened, he could easily go to the UFC brass and go, right, my next fight is a title shot or Strickland for being the winner of the champ to face the champion. Is he? Yeah, it could easily do that. He wins this fight. It's a bit harder to call your shots, ain't it? Where if this geezer beats Whittaker, he could easily go, you know what, give me Strickland next.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, just got to change the title on there quickly. But yeah, absolutely. And we know the UFC would like to push. But you know what? I have to say, like, and I'm sure you and Callum, we have always been critical of the UFC for not pushing fresh blood, because we are fed up of seeing the same names at the top of the division. Evening, Ottoman Turk, evening. Hope you're doing well, mate. Yeah. So we've been very critical of. There's no fresh blood in this division. I'm fed up of seeing the same names, people sitting around for title shots and stuff like that. And I know you said I don't know whether or not you said it on stream or whether or not you said it in one of our chats that, just Dana favoritism, just giving another fighter that's out of the ranking such a big opportunity. But would you say that it's needed? For someone out the blue to sort of assert themselves towards the top of the division, or do you think
it'd be a bit more, if this geezer beats Whittaker and he's right up there, because Whittaker ranked 3. If he beats Whittaker and his next fight Strickland or someone else like that, puts a bit of freshness on top of the card, I suppose. Here he is.
Hello. How are we doing, Kelvin, mate?
Not too bad, brothers. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad. We are discussing Whittaker versus Aliskerov at the moment. What are your views, Callum?
I think it may potentially be a harder fight than what Hamzat was going to be.
That's what we were saying.
Literally discussing it. I think Whittaker might be suffering an early finish.
Yeah, so I thought he would beat Hamzat. I thought Whittaker would beat Hamzat. I thought Whittaker would weather the storm. Hamzat, we know what Hamzat likes to do. First round, he likes to smother his opponent, try and get an early finish. I genuinely believe that he would have tried to take Whittaker down. He may have got him down. I don't think he would have submitted Whittaker. Second round, he would have probably tried to do the same at the beginning of the round. Whittaker would keep on stuffing it. And then from the third round onward, Whittaker would take over and probably stop him late or win on points. This is a very different prospect. And not just because it's a different fight. I just don't know if Whittaker is going to be prepared for this style. I think if Whittaker has a full camp to prepare for Aliskerov, I think he wins. But on a short notice, I don't think it's the wisest decision from Whittaker, even though I understand he must just be itching to fight, especially going through a camp and making all those sacrifices. But it's a tough ask.
I don't think there would be much of a change because I reckon their styles are very similar, but the only difference is that Aliskerov is more of a finisher. Like since he joined the UFC, he's had one decision, the rest have been finishes, early round finishes, like Hamzat. And I think I mentioned this to Jamie, since he's made his UFC debut, Aliskerov's 2-0, but he's had several cancelled fights against Paulo Costa, Imanov. So it shows that the UFC have some level of hype towards him. For basically on your second UFC fight, you're going, you're getting Paulo Costa. So Keep It Real says, is that Rafael Leao that joined the panel? I don't know whether or not Callum would want to be insulted by that average footballer.
Yeah, he's a better footballer than me, to be fair.
Average baller.
Debatable.
Yeah, I don't get the hype with it. I don't see it.
no.
But it's just me.
Yeah, but everyone make sure to check out the Sanderson Show. Subscribe to the Sanderson Show. Link is in the description as well. We'll get predictions. Oh no, actually, Callum, I'll just mention this. I spoke to Jamie about it. Are you surprised it's taken this long for the UFC to get to Saudi?
Yeah, actually, I am. I never really thought about it until you just asked the question, but I am, because I know the Saudis were quite influential in actually helping them to get one of the later deals across the line, and they have been very helpful to Dana White. Am I mistaken in saying that when COVID happened, I know it's Yas Island. Where's Yas Island? Is that
Abu Dhabi?
Is that Abu Dhabi? Okay. I am surprised that it's taking this long for them to bring a card there, especially with them having a relationship behind the scenes. But I think at the same time they couldn't miss out on this. I think UFC probably didn't have a great desire to go there, but seeing the success of boxing and wrestling, I think they kind of knew it was a no-brainer to go there.
Yeah, especially with his excellent. I can't even pronounce it.
Excellency.
Basically, the big boss. Basically, has plans to sort of turn boxing into the UFC by buying all the big promotions and having a league. So I'd be super interested how that would happen, how much it would cost.
It would never happen. I would love it to, bro. It would never happen.
With like money wise, he'd run out of money to make that happen.
No, I don't think he'd run out of money. I don't think those guys are capable of running out of money, if I'm to be honest. I think it's more a case of the politics. Remember, these aren't promotions, these are governing bodies. So the belts are owned by governing bodies. You take away those governing bodies, and they have nothing. They literally have nothing. There's going to be a lot of people going to be putting a lot of pushback. I'd love to see it happen, bro.
All they need to do is bin those belts off and say we're just making new belt.
They could do, but kids growing up who want to be boxers, they want that WBC belt. It's lineage. It's like the UFC belt. Someone could start a new promotion tomorrow and it could have all the bells and whistles, but there's going to be people growing up right now who say, I want to be the next Leon Edwards. I want to be the next Islam Makhachev. I want to hold that UFC belt. I just think I'd love it to happen, bro, because boxing has been the wild one for a long time.
Luke, I'll be right back. 1 second, all right?
Yeah, no problem. I'll just touch on this from the youngest press saying, guys, Jack Della Maddalena will beat Shavkat. We'll get early predictions. Nothing has been announced yet because me and Jamie,
it's close apparently. Well, it's meant to be happening those two, isn't it?
Yeah, we did a stream a couple of days ago. Basically, it's the same day that Izzy Drickus got announced.
Yeah,
I think Kai of France versus Steve Usyk got announced, and then we also looked through what fights may potentially happen after he leaked half the card, basically. And we said that Jack Della Maddalena will most likely face Shavkat Rakhmonov in Perth, which would make sense. And then we also predicted Dan Hooker would probably fight Drago Closer, and someone big is fighting Song Yadong. But I thought it may have been someone like Akura, but it basically been out saying that he's fighting a flyweight. So yeah, that's not happening. So yeah, make sure to check out that video. Obviously, we'll do like predictions, breakdowns on that when that fight gets announced and when it is closer to UFC 306?
305.
305. Where I want both fighters to lose. I don't.
Just thinking, UFC 305 really should have been in Miami. They could have really jazzed that up.
Yeah.
But it's in Australia. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, it should be in Africa, but that's
Don't even-
another thing because Dana's getting.
You
his
know
own
what? That's the
piece.
whole video in itself because it is. That's literally like having Leon versus MVP, and you do it in New York or somewhere like that.
Yeah, don't worry, Callum. Yeah, if you're around tomorrow, we've got our own cooking session. Dana's on the barbie again because he's been making more outrageous quotes, shitting on the media, shitting on the fans, saying that we don't know shit. Still convinced, like it's on the Kool-Aid, but we need them in clips. Yeah, clips.
Dana will be Dana, bro.
Going for Dana.
Dana will be Dana.
Dana doing Dana things. It's not like that. You had a quote saying that John Jones should need to fight one. Yeah, we don't touch on that. Predictions.
Yeah, the John Jones hazing and glazing has been just crazy.
Dana likes a bit of BBC. Of course.
I'm starting to wonder if Jones has got dirt on him.
I like BBW.
Yo, wave us the water.
There must have been like, because it wasn't that long ago that Dana was just going off at John Jones at every single chance he had. And now all of a sudden he's the best thing since God created life, and it's like, what's going on there? It's weird.
If you're Dana's mate, you get everything. I said this about Izzy when me and Luke were talking about Izzy the other day. You know, Izzy should not have a title match after every year off.
I agree. But here's the thing though, Jay, I fully agree with you. The reason why I say it's different with Izzy and Jones though, because Izzy was active, never popped for any drugs.
No, exactly.
Didn't get
the whistle.
Yeah, didn't get in any trouble outside the cage, barring the DUI, which recently came to light. But that didn't like result in anything. He wasn't. If I'm not mistaken, he wasn't crazily over the limit or anything like that. But John Jones has got a catalogue of a history, even a recent history, where Francis knocks out Stipe and Dana White goes, if I'm John Jones, I move to middleweight instead of heavyweight. Now all of a sudden, he would have done to John Jones what he did. Sorry, Jones would have done to him what he did to Garn. I'm like, does he not remember what he said? Or
it's mad. If you or me did everything John Jones has done behind the scenes, we'd be in prison now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, I think Dana White.
Talent gets people out of
talent. But that's like that in every.
This is a comment here by
whatever
Frank,
you do.
Saying, big up everyone. Dana kind of looking desperate and thirsty. Maybe the pay-per-views haven't been hitting lately.
They haven't.
I think that's the case because hey, gather ring, guys. Yeah, got a secret. Maybe no one cares because you're 7 years too late. That's why no one gives a shit. Because I don't want to see old man Stipe get beaten up. It's abuse.
Everyone's bored of UFC at the moment. I think Dana's pissed off as well that I don't think the UFC is growing as much anymore. I literally think it's at a standstill
All
right now.
All he needs to do is watch when WWE go to Lyon or go to Glasgow, Scotland to do their pay-per-views, and the crowd is electric.
And they look like two different places in the world as well at the same time. Where he's talking about the Sphere at the moment. That the Sphere's going to be £1 million. He said you won't believe what it's going to look like. I bet it looks like every other building they're in.
Yeah, I'm hoping something comes of that, because if it does, the thing is, it's probably not going to be different for us there. Surely, like for us watching it, on TV. How different can it be?
Well, it's all so. Inside it, you can make it all atmospheric, can't you? With the screens all around the whole thing in the Sphere. So if you wanted to do like thunder and lightning for an entrance, the whole Sphere would turn into thunder and lightning clouds inside.
Hey, watch Danish.
Can you imagine them doing that? They're not going to do it because you're not allowed to put anyone.
I was going to say he's going to sack that off. He's going to shut it all down.
Can you imagine them? They won't do it. You can't put. No fighters are allowed to get over. By the way.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to be over.
I find it so weird. Like,
he's obviously Vince McMahon of combat sport.
Yeah, took the words out of my mouth, bro.
Yeah,
literally.
Anyway, moving on. Enough about that ball fraud.
Can I just ask one thing?
Yeah.
You know, Hamza, do you think he might have an actual issue? He has missed fights now multiple times through sickness. Do you think because Dana came out with it the other day, he's missed a lot of fights now because of sickness and being violently ill. Is there a problem with him?
Patience.
Is there an issue with him?
I think he's had COVID complications personally.
I feel like there is something going on because he went from fighting almost weekly to now we barely see him in a year.
And he pulls out a lot as well.
And you're seeing him in a hospital bed curled up.
Yeah. They said it weren't food poisoning. They said it's
food poisoning doesn't have you curled up like that in a hospital.
No, they said it's something else. But it's not the first time as well. Also, he's got no stamina. There's something.
I was going to say, is it something to do with his lungs?
There's something not quite right, and he can't ever fight in America. I'd cut him from the company personally.
Yeah, that whole thing's that's a different conversation why you can't go to the US.
Yeah. But it's a US based company. This is the problem.
Yeah,
90% of their fights, over 90% of their fights, will be in North America.
Yeah,
I mean.
Anyway, moving on. Co-main event.
This be a good fight.
Sergey Pavlovich versus Alexander Volkov. Obviously, this is Pavlovich's first outing since getting absolutely battered by Tommy Aspinall to lose his shot at the interim heavyweight title. Did not know that those two sparred against each other, and both of them were fairly shocked when they were told that they were fighting each other. And I think Pavlovich got asked about his sparring with Volkov, and then he said, "Oh, we both sparred in the dark room, so I couldn't really tell." So, but it's this is going to be a great fight.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Dark room,
It is going to be a good fight. It's just going to be two big white Russians beating the shit out of each other, which you don't like to see that.
The still image of Pavlovich doing like the flying knee, and he's like that far off the ground. I'm thinking, shit, he must have just been in the gym just training like mad since he got KO'd by.
I think Volkov wins this.
You think Volkov wins?
I think that knockout that he took off Aspinall takes some getting over.
I was about to say,
it does things to a man. It does things to a man.
I think Volkov could definitely cause some issues with. Obviously, we probably think that Sergey is probably not going to wrestle. He's probably be aggressive, straight out the bat. But I don't know about you, Callum, but I do think Volkov's kickboxing, he is a very unique fighter because of his frame, his size. Do you think that could cause Pavlovich problems, or do you think Pavlovich is just going to run through him quickly?
I don't know. I think this is more of a complicated fight than a lot of people think, because Volkov against kickboxers does very well because he's got his apart from Cyril Gane, but even that fight was pretty close in the end. He's very good at keeping people at the end of his range. Like he pieced up Overeem, for example, because Overeem just couldn't get close. Aspinall, as we've already seen, is a different anomaly because he's probably about the same height as Pavlovich. He's so much lighter on his feet, and his game is so varied in comparison to Pavlovich's. It's hard to get a read on Aspinall. I think Volkov can get a read on Pavlovich. The only thing for Volkov is we've seen he can be clipped and hurt, and I don't think there's a bigger puncher in the heavyweight division in the UFC than Pavlovich. If Pavlovich lands on his chin, I think it's done.
Yeah,
it's just
don't let Dana hear you say that, yeah?
Say again?
Just don't let Dana catch you saying that, because he'll go, oh.
Oh, Joe Pfeiffer. Sorry, I forgot. Crazy with me. But yeah, I'm actually going to go Pavlovich.
Yeah, Sam Harris left a comment saying UFC is at the top of the pyramid for sure. Also, imagine having squeaky clean world champs. Ha ha ha. Pavlovich KO round 1. Jamie, agree? Disagree? Pavlovich round 1 KO?
I think Volkov has shock and win this fight.
I'm going to sit on the fence and have splinters, and I'm probably going to edge it to Pavlovich, but I'm going to go round 2. Comment here from Param. Aloha, gentlemen. I don't know whether or not this is a bait name, so
It's not. I've just Googled it to make sure it wasn't.
Okay.
Nuru Alivev will be champion 2026.
Okay, well,
his
we'll keep an
MMA
eye
fight
out.
is 9-0 at the moment.
I know. Is he been signed yet?
Lightweight fighter. I don't know if he has been.
Do you know what,
Interesting.
Parham?
Keep an eye out
I
for
will
that.
keep an eye out, and if he's champ by 2026, we'll come back to the stream. I'll go, hey, remember when Parham says that Nurilo Alaves will... I've just butchered his name, but if he becomes champ, we'll go, hey, I want my lottery numbers. I want my lottery numbers. Third fight on the card. Kelvin Gastelum versus Daniel Rodriguez.
Chunky.
This fight was originally scheduled at welterweight. And then it came out in the press of this week that Kelvin Gastelum said that he probably wasn't going to be able to make welterweight. Okay, no problem. Told the UFC in plenty of time, so there's no Paulo Costa incident. Okay, be 180 catch weight. Daniel Rodriguez says in his post, in his pre-fight conference, yeah, Kelvin told me that he can't do it. He's been moved to middleweight now. So I'll start off with I don't know who I asked first question. I'll start off with you, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
Has Kelvin Gastelum been very unprofessional by scheduling to say that he'll fight at a certain weight and he's not kept to that weight and he's had to go up a weight? Should he be losing some of his purse like Paulo Costa did when he fought Marvin Vettori? Even though that Costa never missed weight on the scales, but he was still docked pay for basically messing the UFC around. Do you think that punishment should be extended for Kelvin Gastelum, or do you think that he should get away with it because he's told the UFC in plenty of time?
Look, Gastelum likes ice cream. That's very obvious. Yeah. So, he doesn't want to. If he's saying he's going to fight at 170, then he should have done the weight and the work to be a 170 fighter. I have always said it. I think he's a bit unprofessional in his diet and his training. And I think he's big enough to fight at 185. I think he's a bit soft at 185. Although he's had good fights at 185, don't get me wrong. He's a warrior. But I look at Callum Gastelum and I think, geez, if you put more dedication into your diet and fitness, you could have been a beast at 170. You really could have been, because he's a warrior. He's a complete warrior. So, yeah, I just don't like him at 185. I just don't think he's always going to be a gatekeeper in that division. I do think he's a bit soft. I don't think he's big enough. But at 170, if he just committed more to his diet and his lifestyle, whatever it is, I don't know what he's doing behind the scenes. I don't know the geezer, but I think at 170 he could have been a killer at 170.
I think his missus was his nutritionist at one point. Whether or not they're still together, I'm not too sure. But I did see one of the UFC embedded, and I swear his missus was his nutritionist.
That's not a good idea, though, is it?
Which is not a good idea. I'll just move on because I've just been looking at Kelvin Gastelum's last 5 fights, and there was a comment that he says that a loss at UFC Saudi Arabia could end his UFC career. And just to put that in context, his last 5 fights, okay? So he lost to Sean Brady by Kimura submission at welterweight, beat Chris Curtis by decision, bit of a dodgy decision, bear in mind. Lost to Jared Cannonier, lost to Robert Whittaker, and beat Ian Heinisch. He was quite low down. And then before that, he suffered 3 losses in a row to Jack Manson, Darren Till, and Israel Adesanya, stretching back to 2019. So I will bring the question to you. Should he lose to Daniel Rodriguez, who also needs to win? Does this spell the end of his UFC career?
I think it depends how he loses. So I'm not trying to sit on the fence here, but if he goes out and he doesn't look like he wants to be out there, if he just getting teed up on and a real beatdown, I think the UFC do cut him. If he goes out there and he performs, but it just isn't his night, then I don't think they will. Everything Jamie said is right. He's a warrior. He's been in great fights. I think Kelvin Gastelum's going to sit back one day and think, if I dedicated myself, I could have been 170 champion.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he's 32 years old.
That's
I thought he was
crazy.
a lot older than that.
Did he win tough?
Yeah.
Yes,
He did. He beat Uriah Hall in the final.
That's
the
right.
finale.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he joined as a middleweight, I think. So
No, he joined as a welter.
Joined as a welterweight. So he's been in the UFC since 2013. So he's been in the UFC since he was 21 years old. One of UFC's youngest ever fighters. And I think he will look back at this, and I think he will have I agree with you, Jamie, that he'll look back with regret. Look back as, what if? What if I did this differently? And what if I did this differently? And stuff like that. But
it's a bit like do you know? It reminds me of Diaz. Or what's his not Diaz? Oh, what's his name? What's the Hispanic fighter that was in Tough One? Very popular fighter. I can't remember his name now. Where it come to me in a minute. I can't remember his name, but he went up and down in weights and all that. Never really settled, and then had that weird coach towards the end of his career.
Oh, Diego
Sanchez. That's it. It came to me now. Yeah, Diego, and he start tough as a middleweight and then dropped down to 155.
Yeah,
it's. And you think like if you were just at the right weight, your whole career had settled, and you would have been a bit. I think Gastelum reminds me of that. He's a warrior and a beast, and he was scary when he first came in, if I remember rightly.
Yeah,
I just feel like if he was at 117, he was, I don't think he's a fighter that could ever be ripped. He ain't got that physique, but he's soft at middleweight, in my opinion. And
soft belly.
Yeah, I just feel like he's not big enough.
That Gastelum has done is he finished him mentally for life, and I'll just touch on that before we touch on Daniel Rodriguez.
He beat Izzy for me.
Do you think that Izzy fight did sort of mentally finish him off? Knowing that he was literally so close to that interim title.
I thought he beat Izzy personally.
Pardon?
I thought he beat Izzy in that fight.
DJ?
Yeah.
I had it 3-2 to Izzy. One of the best fights I've ever watched, though. So I don't think it has. I just think it's a dedication thing with him, Luke. Like it's just he's got all the tools. Like when he puts it together, his kickboxing is smooth. He's got knockout power. He creates great angles with his striking.
Even his transitions are good. Even his transitions are good. Yeah.
He's got literally everything. He's got an iron chin.
Yeah.
Like he's got everything, but he just isn't disciplined.
I think he's just one of them fighters who are happy with what he did, and he didn't have it mentally to push himself to be that like guy. No.
Yeah, and we'll move on to Daniel Rodriguez. He said that this is a must-win for him. I'll just go through his last 5. Beat Kevin Lee in 2021. Beat the Leech. By split decision, Li Jingjie, Li.
He's
I'm just going to call him
the Leech.
Yeah, and he lost to Neil Magny by submission, and he lost to Ian Gary, which was made last year via a TKO. So he said that he's in a must-win fight, and it's because he is 37. So he's probably thinking that. Joe.
Yeah, I was just looking at his stuff, and then you went, "He's 37." I was like, "Jesus Christ!"
So he's 37. So might make you feel old, Jamie.
He's dead. Yeah,
I don't know what he's done.
He's 37. Fuck. Yeah, go on. That's just got me. I don't know why that's tickled me. Go on.
Yeah. So he's probably thinking that. Yeah, if I don't win, it's 3 losses on the spin. This could end my UFC career. Do you think that's the case with Daniel Rodriguez, Callum? Do you think that a 3rd consecutive defeat could end his career, or do you think, hey, fighters have gone on the 0-3 run, but they have still been kept by the company?
Those fighters usually have a bigger name than Daniel Rodriguez, though. So I like Daniel Rodriguez. I don't think he should be, but if he were to lose, I wouldn't be surprised if UFC did say goodbye to him because he's not a big name in UFC.
He's a bum.
He's a good. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's let go.
Hey Jamie, he beat Mike Perry, who's going to get flatlined by Jake Paul.
No,
Yeah,
Mike
exactly.
Perry ain't losing that.
He's a bum. That's what I'm saying. No, I'm sick of these average fighters, man. Keep him gone. Even if he wins, he should be cut.
Even if he wins, he should be cut. Quick prediction. Sam said that Gastelum decision is the read on this. I'm probably going to go with Rodriguez. Just because Gastelum, I think he's had a lot of weight issues.
I'm actually gonna go with Rodriguez. Gastelum's not disciplined.
D-Rod's got no grappling or wrestling.
He might not need it though. Kelvin's not notoriously known for going for loads of takedowns or having a wrestling heavy style. He likes the knockout as well.
Speaking of what the F happened to Gregor Gillespie? He's still the greatest finisher the UFC has ever seen. I don't know what happened to Gregor Gillespie. Is he injured?
No, I don't think he's injured. I know he had one more fight after the Kevin Lee knockout and was looking to kind of try and make a run again, but
another fighter the UFC failed to capitalize on. Jamie, I'll go with you for a prediction for this one.
Yeah, Gastelum. Yeah, let's just get it done. Yeah,
Gastelum.
I think they're beating comfortably as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going next fight, Putin, and I can't say his last name. Or as I like to say, the ginger fighter with one eye, who's now going to be a movie star before he's even made any sort of career in the UFC, versus Antonio Dragoli.
This is a late notice fight again, isn't it?
This is a late notice fight, so we're going to keep it short and sweet. What round is Shadow Putin finishing this guy in?
Round one.
Round one. Jamie, round one, round two, round three, or does he?
Yeah, this geezer don't even look Brazilian. So, yeah.
No, it's Italian with that name. He looks Italian.
He does look Italian, man. Antonio. Yeah, I'm not having it. Yeah, just for the fakery, 1 round knockout.
And the main card opener.
This is a match.
Johnny Walker making his return after his never fight a man with one eye. Yeah, just after his Rockhold, how that went for him. Johnny Walker versus Volkan Oezdemir. Johnny Walker coming off that quite an embarrassing KO loss to Ankalaev. And Oezdemir is coming off of I think it's a win against Paul Craig, if memory serves me correctly. No, he's coming off a submission win against Borgan Gusov.
Yeah.
Back in September last year.
Oh, yeah, it is as well, yes.
So
he beat Craig in 2022.
Yeah, beat Craig. Oezdemir basically he's lost to Nikita Krylov, Mamad Ankalaev, lost to Yuri Prochazka within a minute, lost to Dominic Reyes, Anthony Smith. Oh dear. Daniel Cormier beat John Jones. No, he didn't. But he's also beat like OSP. So a very
And he beat Jimmy Manuwa as well.
Yes.
Oh, the legend Jimmy.
I said about that. Better beat him 41.
Oezdemir doesn't seem to have that same fire. If anyone, I feel like Cormier beat that out of him when they fought, and then Yuri just completely shattered his confidence.
But what I was saying for this fight, because Johnny Walker, 5 losses by knockout. I know he's won.
He's chinny, isn't he?
He is very chinny. Obviously, he lost to Ankalaev in by knockout. Obviously, he had that no contest due to an illegal knee. I thought that he would have I thought Johnny Walker would have won that one if that one didn't end the way it was. He beat Anthony Smith by decision because Anthony Smith started shouting that he did something to his family. Anthony Smith doing Anthony Smith things. Can't wait for Pereira to talk shit on him in a couple of weeks.
I love Anthony Smith to fight Pereira. That'd be nice.
That would have been pretty.
And then Joining
We
with
do,
Dean
we do
Craig,
enjoy it though. We do enjoy it.
beat Kutalaba, lost to Jamal Hill by KO, lost to Santos by decision. Then obviously his hype train sort of derailed when he got KO by Corey Anderson back in 2019 on the Masvidal Diaz undercard. How are we seeing this fight, gentlemen? Are we seeing
Whoever lands first.
Uzdemir knockout at Johnny Walker, or are we seeing Johnny Walker actually put together a competent display?
I think whoever lands first. I think it could be something like that.
Or are we going to see the UFC
I-
first double knockout?
Yeah, can you imagine? I literally think whoever lands. I think this fight is so up in the air. Hill could put on a clinic, or he could get knocked out quite easy, and it's the same the other way around. It's quite an even fight, if you ask me. It's quite an even fight. Whoever lands the best first, I think, will win because they're both chinny, especially Hill. Sorry, not Hill. Walker. Walker's very chinny, so interesting. I think it could be a banger of an opener. Really good. Really good.
I think Walker takes it. I think he's more varied with his striking. Uzdemir, I just think he's not got that hunger that he had once before. I think he's been beaten out of him, and I think Johnny Walker's gonna. I think he's gonna finish him. I think he'll finish him inside 2 rounds.
Yeah, look, that would be. Yeah, I just feel like I wouldn't be shocked if Walker lost as well by knockout.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't be like, oh shit, this is a shock. I don't think anyone would be.
Sam Harris with a comment saying Walker wants revenge for Volkan submitting his mate Gustov. Walker KO. I'm gonna go Walker KO. He's had plenty of time to get over his loss to Ankalaev. So hopefully, remember when Johnny Walker came in and everyone was like, "Hey, do you want the John Jones killer?"
Yeah, I was on the hype train.
The hype train, and Corey Anderson. Yeah, I went. Yeah, get lost. No hype train for you.
This card is better in UFC Brazil.
This card is a very good card. And if you want to see us on the watch on for that card, Callum, I'll let you promote it. It's still going ahead, isn't it?
It is, unless something crazy happens between now and then. God willing, it won't. It will be happening. So I believe the main card starts at 8 p.m. UK time.
Yeah, 8 p.m. UK time.
We'll be here. And
it's somehow finish at 6 in the morning though.
Yeah, the only annoying thing is like one of the one times where we got a nice evening card. I think the football's on at the same time, if I'm not mistaken. Or there is a game.
That's why God invented 2 TVs.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. So guys, you got no excuse. You can watch us on your tablet or mobile, and then you got a TV for the football.
Open it all up, man.
Exactly. We keep you updated with MMA. You keep us updated with the football.
Oh, that sounds like a deal.
Romania at 8 o'clock on Saturday, so it's not exactly the biggest loss in the world.
Who's playing? Sorry,
Belgium, Romania at 8 o'clock on Saturday.
Oh, this is far better. Yeah. Everyone, forget the football. Just
this is the one.
At 8 p.m. for the UFC watch along.
This is the one. Be there, people. Be there.
The only thing Romania is famous for is Count Dracula. Let's just leave
it. Asking, where are we all from? Without giving away your postcodes.
Yeah.
I live in North Wales.
South London.
I'm near a bridge that goes to Essex.
That's where we're all from. I'm from the sunny place of... Yeah, I can say because it's not... I'm from the sunny place of Wrexham, who got no money. We've got no money to buy players, so yeah. That's it. Anything you guys like to plug before we take the people out?
I'm going off Footy Judge Mo's channel in a bit to talk about Great England.
Shit, we are. Hey, Jamie, you need to be part of the Trent Defence League because he's going to get cooked.
But Trent didn't do anything wrong tonight.
Exactly.
I mean, we were worse when he went off.
Exactly.
In fact, Declan Rice was bullshit.
Yeah.
Jude Bellingham
that's coming from a Declan Rice fan as well. He was terrible.
Jude Bellingham runs around all the play. Harry Kane shouldn't play for England anymore. I mean, what more do we need to say?
Yeah, we are definitely used to those late nights.
Yeah,
I thought England.
Oh yeah. We like most UFC watch-alongs start at what
3
5 to 3, ain't it? 5 to 3 in the morning.
I've got I used to that with kids, so I don't have that issue. yet. But hey, everyone that's tuned in, make sure to hit the like button, share button, subscribe button, subscribe to the Sanderson Show and Jamie Phillips Football Chat. Link is in the description, and make sure that you all tune in Saturday at 8 o'clock for the UFC Saudi Arabia watch along. With all of us, maybe with some guests, maybe, I don't know. Depends. That if they're too busy watching, probably gonna be a boring game between Romania and Belgium. So priority straight.
I'll bring the entertainment, and these two will
Valentina.
these two will be the professionals. There we go.
Absolutely. And everyone, make sure the GoFundMe page link is in the description. We're looking to raise £500 for the midnight walk me and a couple of friends are doing at work for the domestic abuse support unit in Wrexham. So make sure to donate as much or as little as you like. We're trying to get to £500 before the end of August. So any amount would be very much appreciated. But until next time, I think I'm doing a video tomorrow. Jamie, Callum, if you're around, we've got a special one. It's another cooking session. Dana is getting served up again. So if you're around for another Dana cook session, then we are ready. We need to defraud some of these accusations. We need to ban Dana from going on podcasts. Talking shit, defaming his company. Stop taking the piss out of us, media, fans.
Yeah.
You know, someone needs to rattle that bald head of his because he's talking shit. So
Someone needs to take him out.
And on that
not like that, guys. I mean,
I know you mean. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'll get the bullet to do it. You know?
Yeah, and on that bombshell, we will all see you very soon.
Bye-bye.